QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Tax line mapping, schedule M1 adjustment for meals or meals and entertainment. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Here we are in our Test Corp test file. We currently have the open windows open. You can open the open windows by going to the view dropdown, selecting the open windows list. In prior presentations, we set up our information in QuickBooks, including the tax mapping, so that we could then export, as we then did export, to the tax software being Lacert. And now we're doing the reconciliation process from Lacert using the information in Excel, which was also exported to from QuickBooks. So here's what we have thus far in our Excel worksheet. We have these adjustments that we've been working on. Now we're going to be looking at the meals item, often called meals and entertainment. It's still used meals and entertainment, but the entertainment rules have changed a little bit, so you may want to check those out if you're looking into that line item in terms of what is deductible. But if we go back to the tax return, then we've been looking at those adjustments that have flown through. So we're trying to reconcile what is on the books in the return. The return currently has on the first page 65,510. I would like to reconcile to that in my worksheet here to verify to myself that I know what is going on with it. We've been doing the Schedule K adjustments. So if I go back to the tax return, we can see on page 3 we have these line items that are going to be appearing somewhere on the Schedule K. And so we've adjusted for those items. That's one area that's going to be an adjustment between basically the book income and the tax income. Then we have the Schedule M1 adjustments, which will in essence not be on the Schedule K, but be adjustments for items that will not be deductible or not included in income, depending on how the case may be. And this will be the reconciling items for them. This is the one we're concentrating on, the 2000. It flowed through here automatically when we imported from Intuit to the tax system. Now this one, it flows through automatically because it happens to line up to the line item of meals and entertainment, which Lacert will automatically take 50% of it and do this for you. It sometimes messes you up when it does that because you're trying to figure out what's going on, but it's another automatic process. So when we had QuickBooks, then if I go to my lists drop down, take a look at the chart of accounts. In other words, when we set up the meals account down here, if we right click and edit that account, then it got mapped to the deduction for meals and entertainment. Meals and entertainment 50% deductible. So it's going to that line item, and therefore when it's input to that line item in Lacert, Lacert will automatically then take the 50% calculation and do the M1 adjustment for you. So, which again could be good, could be bad, but right here we're trying to find those reconciling items. So that's the other reconciling item that happened automatically. So I'm going to go back on over and say, all right, now I need to adjust for this on my side of the books. So I'm going to go back on over and say, okay, meals and entertainment. That one's a standard adjustment. So I need this one to go down by 2,000. So what I'm going to do is just say, I like to put it on top because that's the one I'm working with. I'm just going to say I'm going to do what I need to do to that one, which is going to be negative of, on the credit side of things, we're going to take that 4,000, flip the sign, divide it by 2, or multiply times 50%, because 50% is going to be deductible, the other 50 not then. And then I'm going to post this out to see if it does what I would expect, which would be to bring it down by half, bring it down to, in this case, then 2,000. And then the other side is going to, so that then will adjust my accounts down here, bringing us closer to where we need to be to reconcile to the first page of the 1120S. The other side I'm going to put down here underneath once again. So I'm going to highlight these items, right click on it, and I'm going to say insert and shift down, and this is going to be an M1 adjustment, or let's just say M1, and then I'll call this for meals. And you can say meals and entertainment or just meals. And then I'm going to put the 0 there. I'm going to drag the formula on down again, so I have the formula going across. I'm going to check the formula down here. It dragged it all the way down for that one. Did not here. Therefore, I'm going to drag the formula, make sure it's calculating all the way down here. And then this one, it is picking up the formula, so that looks good. Here, it's stopping up top at the yellow ones. That's what we want. Now, you might want to make this one like a slightly different color than yellow because this is an M1 deduction, and we're going to have to deal with the fact that we have these two reconciling items. We've got the M1s and we've got the Schedule K kind of items that we'll have to kind of reconcile to two different numbers then. So now let's go ahead and record the other side is going to go to the M1 meals. So this is going to be equal to the M1 meals. It's an M1 meal. And then this is going to be negative that. So M1 meals are good. Those are good meals, tasty meals. So then the other side is going to go down here in the middle column. This is going to be equal to the 2000. And so there we have that. So now we have that adjustment on our side, our reconciliation. We're now at the 65,510. If we go back to the tax software into page 1, we are at the 65,510. So you can see we've reconciled now to this item. So notice these items pulled over pretty nicely, and they pulled over to the tax return pretty nicely, and then we can basically do the reconciliation that has been recorded automatically by kind of mapping everything out and then finding what type of adjustments had been put in place. And so then now that we're mapped out here, we can then think about any further adjustments we might need to be putting in place. So note then the type of adjustments we had were these Schedule K adjustments, and then the M1 adjustments down here. Now, also note that this number, the 85,714, if I go back to here, that's the 85,714 on the book side. Notice that this side doesn't tie out the 77,510 because these two adjustments are not including the Schedule K adjustments. These only include the adjustments for the Schedule M1. So I want to kind of account for that. I want to be able to tie into this number, and then the number on page 1 of the 1120S. Right now we're tied into this number, and we're tied into the number on page 1 of the 1120S. So then we want to do another little reconciliation just to make sure that we can see where this comes from, which is pretty clear because it's consisting of these two numbers, which is the meals and the depreciation. So we'll take a look at that next time.